Hello, folks. Welcome to the Crime Dawg podcast. I'm your host, Johnny FIORICA, retired detective with the Rochester, New York Police Department. After serving 30 years, I am joined by my trusted co-host, David Simpson, also a retired detective with the Rochester, New York Police Department. Folks, we sit before you today with a ton of experience, a wealth of knowledge. But if you want to research what David and I accomplished over the course of our careers, you can go to our bios on our YouTube channel or our website, thecrimedawgpodcast.com. That is thecrimedawgpodcast.com. While you're there on our website, check out our cool merch store. David, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Evening.
Listen, I got to be honest with you. We were talking. I mean, you know, me, you, and our super producer, Danny Agnew, are in constant contact with our text strings and about the goings-ons, local, state, and nationally. And we were talking about content and what we wanted to do this week. And you're like, drones. I'm like, holy cow, 100% right, David. And for those of our listeners that do not know what we're talking about, since mid-November 2024, there have been numerous reports of large drones flying over northern New Jersey, specifically and particularly Morris and Somerset counties. These drones, some have described as being car-sized, like sedan vehicle car-sized, and they're flying in coordinated patterns, often appearing in nighttime hours. And there's zillions of videos on the Twits and on the Googles and all over social media. The FBI and local law enforcement are actively investigating, but have not identified what the immediate threat is. Authorities, David, are concerned due to the drone's proximity to critical infrastructure, their unusual size, and their behavior. The public is encouraged to report sightings to assist in the investigation. Here's the best part. On Tuesday, White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, KJP, said that the drones flying over Jersey were not foreign, adding that President Biden has been made aware of the situation, and DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and the FBI are investigating. So, David, my first take on this is, come on, man. The White House is literally phoning it in since they lost. Kamala has not been seen anywhere. Joe Biden is like in the Aborigine or wherever, some rainforest somewhere, doing whatever he is, giving billions away again just before he leaves office. And they literally have lost sight of the ball. And it seems like they have no vested interest, David, in the safety and security of the United States citizens right now.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I think they checked out. And, but, this is kind of par for the course of this administration. I mean, we had the Chinese balloon flying over the United States, that they lied to us. So I don't put much trust in what they're saying now because they flat out lied about that. I think it's a combination of a government that is, has no problems lying to our face, whether it's about pardons or Chinese balloons or whatever they feel like lying about. I don't trust them as far as I can spit, as far as it comes to being transparent about what's going on, but you're hitting on the head. They also checked out.
Yeah, David, what you're talking about for those listeners that are talking about the China high altitude surveillance balloon was spotted over the United States in late January of 2023. It was publicly reported in February of 2023 when the balloon was seen over Montana. The U.S. military tracked its path, ultimately shooting down the balloon off the coast of South Carolina.
After it had done everything it wanted to do and took all the pictures it wanted to take pictures of, they decided to shoot it down when it was over the ocean.
Yeah, after it had gotten everything that they wanted, forwarded everything back to China. Yeah, you hit it right on the head. And, the thing is you and I were talking today, Representative Jeff Van Drew, he's a Republican, he's a congressman from New Jersey. He was all over media today. He's a little ticked off a little bit because he seems to have said, the Pentagon denies this today, but I do not believe them either. Mr. Drew, Representative Drew says that they're being launched by some mothership parked off the East Coast. Don't know if that's true, but he's saying it's all Iran, and he received this from highly credible sources. Shortly after he made the statements in public media, the Pentagon spokesperson came out and said that's not true, and they specifically named Mr. Drew. So right now, I don't know. I know in my gut, it's some kind of foreign counterintelligence or intelligence that are trying to gather by these drones. I don't know if it's Iran, if it's China, if it's a combination of both. I don't know if China is allowing Iran to use its technology or who it is, but it's definitely not a friend trying to fly drones over our country. It's definitely a foe, David. Definitely someone that wants our intelligence,
Yeah, I found it interesting that the Pentagon said that denied that was the case, but yet this evening they put a plane up in the air to go look for a ship off the coast. So it's kind of contradicting. Why would you put a plane up going to look for a ship that you said doesn't exist?
Yeah.
I think it's a reasonable guess to think that China and other adversaries, whether it be Iran or whoever, is involved in some type of counter surveillance measures. The interesting thing with these things, excuse me, is that they detect when they're being like watched and focused. Like they can go dark, which I think is unbelievable technology. They're almost impossible to follow. They've had helicopters in the air and stuff like that, and they basically go dark, and they're very difficult, to monitor. And there's so many of them. Some of the images you've seen in the sky, it looks like tons of activity in the sky. Like it's not one or two of them. And they said one, and I haven't been able to verify this, one might have crashed in New Jersey. I saw it on the tweets before we got on, and they said it was the size of a pickup truck, and there was debris everywhere. So, I mean, if that doesn't give us some answers, I don't know what will. Hopefully there's not any green men running around New Jersey, because that would be terrifying.
Yeah, David, you and I were both local law enforcement. We were detectives inside the city of Rochester, but we also worked and were credentialed with the federal government. The government that you and I worked for was the ATF arm of the government. Bottom line is, local law enforcement does not have the authority, the means, the apparatus, the equipment, the knowledge, the know-how. It's nothing against our brothers and sisters that had the same job as we did, but they don't have the authority to do this. This is a total government operation, if you will, that needs to get done. It's not going to be done by any type of state or local law enforcement. The federal government has to use its resources. It has to use its intel. It has to use its military resources to do and take care of the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so folks understand, just because we were task force officers and had credentials, we still weren't privy. We were privy to a lot more than most local law enforcement are, but we didn't. Weren't also. We didn't get to see totally inside the fully peeled onion either. So we were kept at arm's length, less than local law enforcement, because we were TFOs, but we still didn't get to see behind the curtain, so to speak. So the government isn't going to be totally transparent. There are reasons for that, whether you believe in it or not. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the right thing. But I think this is going to come to a head here in the next few days, where they're going to have to come up with some answers and give it to some people, because it's causing quite a stir.
Yeah, it's definitely causing quite a stir. Representative Brian Burgeon, also from New Jersey, he walked out of a Homeland Security meeting today with his fellow politicians. I mean, his reaction to the media, I could tell, right? You and I are experts in interview and interrogation, reading body language. I mean, this guy was not acting. He came out of this meeting and met one or two reporters and started talking into the microphone, unscripted, and you could tell he was like legit angry and mad.
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything. Okay, it was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think they called this meeting?
No idea. Why would you call a meeting to tell people you don't know anything? I have no idea. And then when the legislators would ask questions, there were no answers. Here's the most frustrating part. The colonel of state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying over above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And he felt unsafe for his helicopter, so he just let it go. Just let it go. Where'd it go? Who knows? Didn't want to follow it because you didn't feel safe. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard?
What amazes me is that they're even keeping, and the politicians are saying this, and I give them credit for saying it, they're being left in the dark, and they got nothing to talk about with their constituents because their constituents are reaching out going, hey, what's going on? And the politicians are like, we don't know. We're asking and we're not getting any information.
Well, and that briefing that he went to, the governor was supposed to be there. He's the one that called the briefing. He didn't even show up, the governor of New Jersey. He no-showed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
David, what's also disgusting? Another thing that you had sent me today was the Chinese national that was arrested in California in Santa Barbara for flying a drone and taking pictures of the Vandenberg Space Force, which is located in Santa Barbara County. He literally had a drone a mile off the ground, and it was like for over 1 hour. And they scooped him before he was going to get back on a plane and go to China.
Yeah, they're all over us. I mean, they're here. They bought up tons of farmland. They had the balloon. They probably have these drones. They had this guy's drone. I mean, they're all over us. And this administration really hasn't done much. And I hope it changes. I hope it changes when Trump gets in office, because we're not secure.
You're 100% right. And we talked about this off camera before we flipped the switch to go live. I mean, literally, it's like the substitute teachers in school, right? Biden right now and Kamala, no one even knows where the hell she is, and who cares, by the way. But if Joe and the people that pull his puppet strings, they're literally like the substitute teacher who will in the cart put the TV on there and pop the VHS tape in and, okay, have at it, kids. I mean, that's exactly what's going on in America today. We got a substitute teacher. It is truly a lame duck period. The Dems don't care. They're trying to literally hand over to Trump and his administration as many banana peels as they possibly can. This being
or hand grenades.
They don't even, or hand grenades. Yeah, they want him to slip and fall and literally fall on his face his first day in office. I'll tell you right now, man. Thank God, Trump won. And you know me, David. You're the same way. We're not these people that are like, I wave Trump's flag, but I'm not literally gonna put one on my car and drive down the street. Right?
We're not Trumpers. We're not Trumpers. He was just the best choice among the two.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% voted for him when he ran, okay, all 3 times. I voted for him, not going to lie to you, because he is the one that everybody fears, and he needs to get back into office ASAP, because he's got to take control of this.
The bar is low. I mean, let's be honest. The bar is low. At least he's engaged. At least 100%. He's awake and he's paying attention and he's engaged. I might not agree with all the things he does, but at least he's present and accounted for. And he's working the phones, and he's on top of things. I mean, Sleepy Joe, it doesn't make you feel that, just the image of him does not make you feel safe and secure, and it does not project any type of strength towards our adversaries. Thus why China's all over our ass.
100%. Listen, folks, that's our take. We think, or we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please click like and subscribe. You could check out our website, thecrimedogpodcast.com, where you can click on a library of our episodes. And like I said in the earlier podcast, you could check out our merch store while you're there. If you can't get enough of us, you can listen to David and I on our weekly show every Saturday afternoon from noon to 1. We're live. Yeah, iHeartRadio gave us a show. We can't believe it either. It's called the Crime Dawg Live Show. If you're on the iHeart app or on their desktop website, you can just Google Crime Dawg. That's DAWG, Crime Dawg. We'll pop up. You can listen to us live from noon to 1, or you can listen to past episodes that we recorded for iHeart. We take live unscreened calls, and we hope you check that out. Folks, thank you for listening to the Crime Dawg Podcast. We hope you stick with us for future episodes. But like my brother-in-law, Frankie Grassi, says, if you can't make it, who cares?